what do you make of your room as a whole right now?
Right now, it's a group of young guys fight for roles. Guys are out there working hard. They're working hard to learn the offense. So there's tons of meetings, there's tons of film, and tons of work. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're at that ground level. We're trying to build from there.
Coach, how pleased are you so far this spring with the energy and the aggressiveness you're seeing out there on the field on a day-to-day?
Yeah, the energy's been good. We still got to continue. I mean, today we got into a team perimeter period, and we got a ton of work to do. I'm excited to get into the film and to coach those guys up that way. That's a standard that we fight for every single day. And so, to say that I'm pleased with the effort there, but of course, just the execution and the physical aggressiveness and all that stuff that has to continue to work and show. And we got time.
Bryson Coleman transitioning to your room, just what were those conversations like, and how big of an asset can he be for you in that role?
Yeah, I couldn't wait for Bryson to get to the room. Obviously, he has a ton of talent. I mean, he has elite ball skills. He's really, really fast. He can stretch the field, and he's smart. And so, coming off of last season, that was one of the things that us as a staff, we kind of bounced around a little bit, and it's good to see him out here. It's been a seamless transition for him, just because of some of the things we asked him to do last year were very much like a receiver. So, where he is working to get better at is just like being on the outside, going against press coverage, and that's a little bit different. And our goal is to ultimately move him around and have him play outside and have him play inside. So those are points of emphasis, and those are things that he's working on this spring. But super excited. He's going to bring a ton of experience and a specific skill set that allows us to get really, really creative offensively and get him the ball.
How do you feel about an overall depth in your room?
Yeah, I think the depth is good. I mean, I just think where we are right now is just a lot of new faces, I think from a number standpoint, we'll be fine. I think we'll have enough guys to go out there and bring. They all can bring something to the table, and we'll have an opportunity to utilize their skill sets. I'm excited about that. We're just so young right now, So.
Yeah, how much does that change? Like Diego and your guys, there were a lot of experience last year. How does that change with you guys in your room and you guys behind center?
It changes a lot, You kind of alluded to it just with the quarterback situation. Obviously, when you have somebody new under center, you got to work on that connection. I think when you look at last season, what we had with the quarterback and the receivers was just a connection. Those guys were on the same page, and that's our goal this spring. I mean, how connected can we be? How close can we be? How much on the same level can we be in terms of guys understanding, hey, the quarterback knowing when you're breaking down, when you're coming out of that route, us being at the right place at the right time, and that ball being on time, us catching that ball. And so those are going to be things that you're going to see all through spring. The goal for that is once we get to that spring game, it doesn't look like a day, practice 4. And so, but to answer your question, it does change, and that's really the focus right now for our guys.
How do you speed that along, or is it just a matter of reps?
Repetition, yeah, it's repetition, man. It's like I just was talking to Owen, that's one of our incoming freshmen. I was just like, how many reps can you get? How much tape can we watch? How many walkthroughs can we do? And it's really like one thing we say around here in our program is our reps are gold, and it's like, whether it was a good rep or a bad rep, it gives our guys an opportunity to learn, you know what I mean? And so, for us, it's, as you see us run around practice, we're moving from drill to drill, and it's all in an effort to get as many reps as we can while we're out here on the football field.
What was the initial eval on Cole Adams like, and what stands out now that he's here?
Man, just maturity. He's smart. Obviously, he's fast and can run. He's smooth. He can separate out the break point. He has really good hands, and so all of that stuff is great. But also too, he brings a dynamic to our room, kind of like filling out that role that Richie kind of had, where he's more vocal. He's helping the other guys learn the offense as he's learning it. And one thing that stood out was he came in and learned it right away. He loves football. He loves to meet. He loves to talk ball. He loves to play. And so all those things are great. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do this season.
You mentioned reps and like building chemistry.
Yeah.
Coming off his last couple of years with Diego, and now no one knows who the guy's going to be. Does that kind of play any role into how fast they're actually able to build chemistry with the QB or whoever that may be?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think kind of where we are now, we're in a rotation at quarterback, we're in rotation at receiver, and so I think the main focus for our receivers is knowing what to do, knowing where to be, and then making the play when it comes to you. You know what I mean? And then as the quarterbacks are working through the same thing, and I think eventually we'll settle on who that guy would be. But for us, it's all about operating. As you've seen today, there'll be pre-snap penalties. Those are things we need to eliminate. We need to make sure we're lining up correctly. We need to make sure we're running the correct route. If we're blocking on the perimeter, we got to make sure we're going to the right guy and we're fighting for leverage and those type of things. So that's kind of our focus. And then over time, as you kind of settle in and say, hey, whoever that quarterback is that kind of separates himself, whoever those receivers are that show us that they can play to a standard and they're guys that we can count on play in, play out, we'll get those guys together and then they'll continue to hone in on their connection.
How much is the DB room putting pressure on your guys on a daily basis out here? Because I've noticed there's a ton of competition and a ton of energy out there on that side of the ball as well.
Yeah, it's great for our guys because I think, the competition brings out the best in everybody. One thing we know about our DBs here, they're going to bring energy and they're going to have effort, and that's going to be every single day, and that doesn't matter which DB it is. Obviously, guys like Martell and CJ Hurd, those guys who played a ton of ball for us are out there, and we kind of know what we're going to get from them, but there's a ton of young guys out there that bring that same energy, and they're fighting for roles as well. So that's what creates the competition out here. Anytime you get the receivers and the DBs going against each other, it's always going to be exciting. So those DBs pushing our guys is going to allow for them to be better as well.
Joe McVay mentioned it's been an up and down journey for him since he got here. Just how have you kind of tried to guide him through it? What have you seen from his career so far?
Yeah, I mean, he was right from that standpoint. One thing I noticed about Joe in this offseason, we had a long talk, is the biggest thing for Joe is, I think when you come in as a young player and you're super talented, a lot of times you just feel like, hey, just put me out there and let me go. And I think over time, Joe's learned that, like, he has to operate within our system. I think what you've seen with him in the offseason, he's done a lot of things on his own outside of coaches asking him to do it, whether that's going to quarterback meetings, sitting in their meetings so he can get a different perspective and learn and kind of understand what they're going through and see how that can help him. When we're out on the road, he'll come out here on his own and run routes. He'll go work releases, and any type of meetings that are held from a receiver standpoint. Like if I had let's say for instance, I just had a couple of guys when Cole Adams and Jacory and those young guys came here, Owen and Caden were here. I was meeting with them separately just because they're new, but he would come to those meetings as well. And so what that showed to me was that he's taking it serious now. He really, really wants to play, and so he's fighting for a role. And so I think that he's kind of learning from the past 2 years. He doesn't want it to end up that way, and he's taking the right steps towards changing that.